Amaterasu is a solo support and possibly even jungle that gets a lot of benefit from building hybrid. Let me, a Grandmaster Smite 1 player, show you how to play her the best you can. Amaterasu's passive is applied after basic attacking a target 3 times. This is indicated by a circle of light that forms around them, meaning that they and other targets around them take 10% more damage from all sources for 6 seconds. This debuff refreshes every 3 basic attacks on the same target. Amaterasu's first ability is an aura that does 2 things. The first, or gold stance, gives a percentage movement speed. The second, or red stance, gives strength and intelligence, both a flat amount and a scaling amount. These buffs are persistent and are on you as long as you are in that stance or as an ally near Amaterasu. When activated, you switch between the 2 stances. For the next 6 seconds, you gain the following. When switching from gold to red, you gain an attack speed buff on top of the persistent buff you get while in the stance. When switching from red to gold, you heal a flat amount plus 5% of your intelligence, and gain a shield that is equal to 1% of your HP, on top of the persistent buff you gain for being in the stance. Amaterasu's second ability will be your main clear tool, and where your ability damage comes from. You charge up your mirror through doing damage or taking damage, getting a flat amount of damage reduction as well as a percentage based on your intelligence. This ability can channel for 5 seconds. While this channel is happening, you have the freedom to do anything you normally would while not channeling it. However, it will interrupt a recall if it ends while you're recalling. Once you press the button again or the 5 seconds runs out, the ability will fire out dealing damage. When the mirror is fully charged, you will do double the base damage. This damage scales with both strength and intelligence, but more so with intelligence. Down. Slow down. Oh, Zeus is in there? He let the heavens rain. The third ability is a simple line dash that silences enemies in front of it. The dash deals damage and silences for 1 second. It will go through minions, but stops on enemy gods and cannot go through walls. Finally, her ultimate makes her CC immune for the duration, as she strikes 3 times. Each of these strikes deal more damage and have an extra effect when you hit an enemy with each hit. It does not have to be the same enemy, just an enemy. The first hit does damage in a cone. The second hit slows for 30% for 2 seconds in the same cone. And the third hit becomes a circle around Amaterasu that stuns for 1.5 seconds. The circle, however, is not a complete circle. It is a sweep around Amaterasu. This line right here is what stuns them. As I said, these bonus effects and the extra damage do not apply unless you hit an enemy. So, how do you want to play her? Well, Amaterasu's primary roles are solo and support. You can play her in jungle, but if you're just starting out on her, I'd stick to solo or support. For solo lane, which is where I recommend you play her first, you want to get your farm. You don't really need to fight much, but still can if you have to. She has a good clear tool, and she's got pretty solid damage and buff secure. Use your healing and your auras to stay alive in the lane from high poke lanes. Her late game is where she excels. Her healing, damage, and damage reduction are what make her incredible in the late game. She keeps herself alive for so long, and she does so much damage to carries. As for why she's good in support, it's mainly because of her auras. Her auras are incredibly powerful, and being able to benefit from those so early on in the game makes her strong in support. Well, how do you build her? For her first item, I usually like to go an item that gives both strength and intelligence. Conch is usually the best solution for this, because it gives both strength and intelligence plus stats that you like. If against a physical lane, I like to go Berserker Shield. If against a magical, you can either go into Oni Hunter's Garb, or if they have a lot of healing or lifesteal, someone like Anubis, who has lifesteal, or Hades, who is healing, you can go into something like Ruinous Ankh, followed up by the Berserker Shield if you are going that magical defense item first. From then on, I usually see what I need. If I need anti-crit, I go a Spectral, and if I need something else, I'll look into that. However, I usually like finishing out the build with the Spirit Robe, because that item is just so strong right now. In support, I would build Gauntlet of Thebes first, just because it's so good. In terms of starter items, in Soul Lane you can go a lot of different things, but I would recommend either going Death's Toll or Conduit Gem. Both are incredibly strong and do things that Amaterasu wants to do. Amaterasu uses a lot of her basic attacks, but also Amaterasu uses a lot of her abilities. Plus, getting intelligence is incredibly strong for her because it scales bonus effects with 2 of her abilities. But if you learned something new, I'd appreciate it if you sub. Otherwise, though, peace.